about a pattern called the Thurlow Trousers pattern from Sewaholic. This is my printed out version. So it's a little pattern review, and I have made this pattern 3 times now, so I might even know a little bit what I'm talking about. So the Thurlow Trousers is an independent pattern company, Sewaholic if you don't know it, and I think you can probably get a paper version, not sure, but I have the PDF version. And it's a wide trouser pattern, which is a style that I like to wear a lot, and it's a style that I've been trying to find a good pattern for a while, because shop bought trousers just don't fit me. They just don't fit me. I've got the classic smaller waist than my hips, and so if I can pull a trouser over my hips, when I do it up at the waist it's all baggy and it falls down and I have to wear a belt. And that is what drove me to want to find a really good trouser pattern, and I think my personal opinion is that the Thurlow trouser is a really good trouser pattern, both because I like the style, which is a personal thing, but also the pattern is really well written. So the details of the pattern are, I will bring it to you. There are the line drawings. Hope you can see those okay. It's a bit of a reflection. In fact, do you know what? I'll insert a picture of the line drawings. Put it there. So it has welt pockets at the back, and welt pockets are the kind of pockets that have like a binding at the top and the bottom. It has hip pockets at the front, and it has a shaped waistband, and it's loose through the leg, and it's wide, so it's not bell bottom. It's wide, which means it's kind of consistently wide throughout down to the bottom, and the pattern as drafted is fairly wide, definitely defined as a wide trouser, but it's not crazy kind of palazzo pant or culottes or anything like that. It's definitely still a trouser. One of the best things about this whole pattern is the way that you fit it at the end. Now, trouser fitting is an art of all of its own. It's like a voodoo art, to be honest with you. It can be really tricky, and it's mostly about the curve under your undercarriage, so from the front belly button all the way under between your legs and all the way around to your bottom. And because of the shape of tummies and the shape round here, never thought of it before, but the shape underneath there, that changes on people. It's, you know, the length between your tummy and your pubic line varies on people, and then the fullness or otherwise of people's bottoms changes, and that is, you know, there are so many variables in that curve. In my opinion, that is what makes trousers so hard to fit, because it might be that everybody's had that experience of trousers cutting them in half, haven't we? And it's horrible, and that might be coming because your bottom is fuller than the pattern expects, or the shop, you know, whatever pattern the shops use to make their trousers. It might be because it's too full. It might be because you are longer than the pattern expects from the tummy to your pubic bone. Or it might be because you have a fuller or a flatter tummy than they expect. There's so many different places that it can come from. So I'm not going to go into how to fit trousers because I can't speak. Because, to be honest, I'm not an expert. I've worked out how to do it for me on this pattern, and I have been on a course and drafted my own trouser block for me, for my body, but there are some good resources, and I'll put a link to them down below, about what to look for. And there is also a book, here we go, so trousers, pants for real people. Yeah, so it's American. It's stylistically, in my humble opinion, pretty horrific, but technically, the advice, everything, brilliant, really good. The only thing they do that I haven't done is they do tissue fitting, which is basically pinning the tissue to your body, and I've never attempted that because I just can't see how it's practical to do that on your own, and I don't have anyone who can assist me when I'm sewing. So that's not a route I've gone down, but the advice they've got works perfectly well if you make a muslin and try it on. So that's the route that I would go down. So in terms of making the pattern fit in a detailed way, that's where you need to go. But what this pattern does, I'm going to show you in the instructions. Here you go, step 18 shows it quite well. 17 and 18, whoops, get in the right place. So as you can see on the pattern, that is the back seam that goes over your bottom and the waistband. And there is a huge extension, so that if you look at step 18 here, so that this is the inside view, and there's a really big seam allowance, okay? And what that means, that is how they tailor trousers on Savile Row. What that means is that you can adjust that back seam a lot, and they do it for men because when men's waistbands expand, you can let the trousers out. Obviously a woman's shape is a bit more curvier and a bit more complicated than that, but the theory is the same. And so drafting a trouser pattern like that is really good for fitting, because it will solve a lot of your fitting issues without having to remake the entire pattern. I would still advise that you make a toile the first time, or the first time that you make it in a fabric that you're not all that bothered if it doesn't work out. So don't make it in your bestest or your most expensive the first time, because you need to work out how to fit trousers. If you've ever heard anyone talk about trousers, you're going to have heard them say that. Right, let's stop talking. Let me show you the 3 pairs of trousers I have made, explain the different fabrics and what I found while I was making them. Back in a minute. So here we go. We've got pair 1, pair 2 and pair 3. So looking at pair 1 first, these are made in a fairly heavyweight kind of electric blue cord, because I liked it. And I made these in the winter, so they're suitable for winter, and I really like cord trousers. Like stroking my own legs, basically. I used contrast kind of cotton, polycotton I think it was, to do the waistband and to do the insides of the pockets. This is the pair that I took longest to make because it was the one that I was fitting. Basically in the end I had to scoop a little bit extra out of the undercarriage that I described to you, so that the crotch curve was a little bit deeper around the lower bottom area, and that solved the fact it was a little bit tight for me there. And I also had to make the waist part a little bit narrower, which I did by just gathering in that back extension that I showed you on the pattern. The one thing I haven't done on any of my versions of the trousers is I have not put any of the belt loops on, because as I explained, I have no intention of using a belt because I want a pair of trousers that stays up without a belt, and I don't like it as a style choice. And it saved me a job, and it saves some fabric, because actually you use a fair bit of fabric because you need a long strip for it. So I haven't done belt loops on any of them, but the pattern does have belt loops in it. And the one thing that is weird about this pattern, and other people who've made it have said this as well, the back pockets are really shallow. There's no way you're getting a mobile phone in there, you're only just going to get a credit card in there. That's how shallow they are, and I've shown you in my video of me putting my hand in my pocket. So version number 2. This version is made from a really weird fabric. It's nice to wear and it's extremely warm, which is great for winter, not so great for summer because it's not very breathable. It's kind of a sweatshirting with a shiny but transparent paisley print on it. Hard to describe, but you can see them in the trouser form. It's really comfortable because it has a stretch to it, but it's also quite structured, so it's kind of a little bit secret pajama-y. The only thing I changed on this was I deepened the pockets. So the way that you have to do that is you just, the back pocket piece, you make it longer. However much deeper you want the pocket, you make the piece twice as long as that, and then when you fold it, it's deeper. And that was super easy to do. Yeah, and I'm really pleased with this pair. So the third pair, I kept the fit the same, but what I changed with this, the fabric is completely different. The fabric is linen, which I chose because I want them for when we go on holiday and we're basically going to the desert, so kind of need cool clothes. Never sewn with linen before and loved it, really loved it. it behaves so well. When you press it, it does what it's told. It moulds into curves. Oh, it was brilliant. This is not 100% linen, it's a linen and viscose mix, which means it's not going to crease as bad as normal linen, because that's the reason I've never made linen before, is because it creases horribly. So I made a different kind of fabric, and I made a couple of design changes. I made them much wider at the bottom by about 5 inches around the whole circumference of the bottom. I then also deepened the waistband, I kind of doubled it, and I added a couple of pleats in the front that I'm showing you. And the reason why I did all this was basically I was trying to copy a pair of shop bought trousers that I've had that I love, but because they're over long, and I also lengthened the pattern for this, yeah, so I made them longer because I wanted them to deliberately brush the floor, so they're kind of over long. But because the shop bought trousers that I've had them for nearly 10 years, I love them, but they brush on the floor and therefore they're frayed into oblivion at the bottom, and I really can't wear them anymore, much to my heartbreaking sadness. But now I have finally cracked copying the pattern. So main thing I did, as I said, I deepened the waistband, and the way I did that was really simple. These trousers sit below the natural waist, so you can assume if you have a reasonable, if you have a waist, if you have a straight up and down body, this is not necessarily going to work for you, but if you have a waist, you can assume that if you just continue the line of the pattern piece up, that will give you the narrowing that you need. So I decided, rather than the approximate sort of 1.5 inch depth that the pattern piece gives you a waistband of originally, I wanted my waistband to be more like about, what is it, it's probably 4 going on 5 inches deep, so it comes up to my actual waist, which is quite high. And I just extended the pattern piece. Make sure you maintain the seam allowances, so you need it to be as deep as you want, plus 1.5 centimetres top and bottom. That worked really well for me. I was very pleased with how it worked out. And oops, I have to record my ending again because the original one, I don't know where it's gone. And I'm editing the video a long time afterwards. Anyway, so those are the 3 pairs of trousers, Thurlow trousers. I have at least one more planned, and I'm hoping I'm going to make it out of denim and a bit more kind of jeansy. So maybe I'll do a video and show you what elements in trousers you can change to make them more like jeans. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Please ask any questions you've got about things I might not have mentioned about how I did the trousers, or anything you want to know about the pattern. I really do recommend it. It's, as I said at the start, it's really well written, easy to follow, and actually I have even made a pair of shorts that I didn't even make it to this video because I think I made them after I did the original recording. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!